Welcome to the PUTF Show. I'm Selwa, and my guest today is our musclecars. Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Thank you for having us.
Craig and Brandon, yeah, such a pleasure to have you. And congrats on your new album.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, before we start, the tradition of the show is to let the guests introduce themselves. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Brandon. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm one half of musclecars.
I am Craig from Brooklyn, New York. I am the other half of musclecars.
Nice. Yeah, I'm like so curious because like you're both New York native, and so yeah, I want to know about your childhood. Like, how was it? Like to grow up in New York.
Yeah, I grew up in Sunset Park, on 6th Avenue and 41st Street, right across the street from the park. And yeah, so I actually lived in New York up until I was 8, and then actually moved down south to Florida for 3 years.
Wow.
So during that time, yeah, I would kind of just stay pretty local in Sunset Park. I would walk to school, which is 3 blocks away from me, and go to my best friend's house, which is like another 3 avenues away. And then occasionally would like go on trips, like going to like Coney Island or something was such a big trip.
Oh wow.
So I wasn't old enough to like get on the train and, you know, go by myself yet. But yeah, lived in New York up until I was 8, and then spent 4 years outside of New York and then came back. Yeah.
Nice.
For myself, wait, can I ask him a question?
Yeah.
What was like the biggest difference like in like that routine in Florida?
I was living in the suburbs, so it was suburban. I took a school bus to school. So I went from walking to school every day and then taking a school bus to school, seeing the same kids on the bus every day. Not as much diversity, obviously. And yeah, it was just more quiet. Like when I wasn't in school, it was just like more or less home. And if I wanted to go to a friend's house, I had to be driven there because there's no way for me to like really get around at all. Yeah, it was definitely a different experience for sure. But
Wow.
For me, my parents were like separated when I was young, so my mom was living in Bayside, Queens, and my dad was living in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn. So I'd just like be back and forth, and was like very into I mean like all the things that kids like, video games and like listen to music, and I would go like every weekend, take like a train to Manhattan when I was far too young, and like my mom would always freak out. And go to like the Virgin Megastore and like these record shops and stuff.
Wow, really? They had the Virgin here?
They had it in Times Square.
Wow.
Yeah, they had like a huge, and they'd have like tons of CDs because that was like the main thing, and then have like a very small room for like records. But yeah, I feel like it was just like the allure of it was like, whoa, like all this like music stuff and all these different genres, and would probably like beeline to like the hip hop section anyway. But yeah, just like very like New York, I guess, experience, especially because both of those neighborhoods that my parents were living in were super different. So kind of got both sides of it too. Yeah.
And like, what were your aspirations at that time?
Definitely wanted to be a rapper when I was like a kid. I remember like having like a book where I'd like write like rhymes in, and I like sat my mom down and I was like, hey, like I'm gonna be a rapper, so I'm gonna have to curse. So like I hope you're cool with it. And yeah, I was just like always super into music, even though it was like the styles and genres kind of changed.
yeah, I remember telling my parents I wanted to be an actor at like 6 or 7. I don't know where it came from. But yeah, I think I didn't think too much about it. I was also into hip hop as well. I think, yeah, growing up in New York, especially in like the early 2000s, like you're more or less into hip hop. Like it's just pretty natural. Yeah. Aspiration wise, yeah, I remember just saying I wanted to be an actor. Yeah.
Nice. But like, sorry, at that time, like what also kind of music were you listening to? Did you have like an iPod or
I
had a CD player.
A CD? Wow,
I think my first iPod was either the Shuffle or the Touch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they have, you know, like, I don't know, in Morocco we had like a little MP3
player.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
For sure. I feel like I got my mom that for Christmas one year.
Whoa.
And like put songs on it.
Nice.
But yeah, CD player was like a big thing. Also, I feel like we just missed like the tape, like cassette generation. I remember feeling it, not feeling it. I remember seeing it like around the house, like cassettes, but never like got into it.
And also mixtapes were a big thing, especially in hip hop. Summer, my sister would go to like Canal Street and she would get like mixtapes, but also like bootlegs, so like illegal albums of like a lot of dancehall compilations and like early hip hop stuff.
Nice.
Like 50 Cent, or I remember getting Eminem's like 8 Mile soundtrack, like the clean version, like I listened to Mama Curses.
So funny. Yeah. I remember one time my grandma like took me to FYE and I almost got the Eminem like, and she was like, no, this is explicit. Or I think the guy was like, no, this is personal. But yeah, there was a big like in New York, a big like mixtape culture. And yeah, there was like a spot like right around the way from me in Bed-Stuy, and like it would literally be like a store, like a bodega, but just mixtapes.
Whoa.
And like CDs, and they had like Michelin Ness, like fitted hats and jackets and stuff. But yeah, for like a hot second, when I was like, I think in middle school, would like burn CDs and like make my own like mix CDs, and like I went to like school or like the Coliseum Mall in like Jamaica and like try to sell them.
Wow.
But yeah, I feel like that we don't really have that anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like the mixtape culture kind of died down. Or like if you hear it, it'll be like they'll say it's a mixtape, but it's like on Spotify and like Apple Music and stuff. So
yeah, it's so true. It's so sad because like now, I mean, everything is online, and it makes it kind of less valuable in a way. Like it was nice to like go to a store and physically find the mixtape or the CD, you know, and
people used to line up for releases.
Yeah.
You don't get anymore, you know, because now everything's digital. Yeah, people used to wait until the shop opened up and things would sell out. You have to wait until it gets restocked.
Yeah.
Well, so were you like when did you start experimenting with MySpace and SoundCloud? And
MySpace came in maybe 2005, 2006, I would say, and then SoundCloud came like way after that. Yeah, it's like 05 and 06 is when I had joined MySpace, and yeah, I was still mostly into hip hop at that time. I remember like having the little media player, the Diplomats, and like Jay-Z, and
a lot of like Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the song? The famous song?
By Lil Wayne?
Yeah, like Shawty, like was it like?
You have to sing it.
Yeah,
I think
Shawty. Damn, it's been forever.
Not Lollipop.
A Millie?
No, not a Millie.
Lollipop?
Maybe it was.
Photos in
that one? Yeah, and he was like, I think he was.
Lollipop. Yeah.
That's a Lollipop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, what? That's so funny. I think of Lil Wayne too. Just from growing up, like instead of like the Carter series, like I more think of him for like his mixtapes, like the Drought and stuff. Like he would pair up with like DJ Drama or like different DJs and just have these like he'd kind of like bar out on like other people's beats and just like style for like the whole track, and then it'd be like 14 tracks of just that, which I thought was the coolest thing because he's such a genius when it comes to like just like writing, like a crazy poet.
Yeah, and so like I'm so curious, when was the like your first time in a club? Like, do you remember?
In a proper club, I guess technically, even though it's more of a music venue, is Webster Hall, I would say. And yeah, I was 17 at the time, I believe. 17 or 18. And then before that, I was going to more of like Terminal 5 or... there used to be like these waterfront concerts in Williamsburg or Central Park Summer Stage. So like a lot more of these like live venues, but first I guess club experience technically was Webster Hall.
I feel like probably Webster Hall like was also at the I don't know if you remember like the first House of Yes before they moved. I can't even tell you like what the address was, but you could probably like look it up after. But a lot of when we were coming up, I feel like a lot of spaces were very like DIY. there was one party that I remember specifically that was also like around the corner from like my dad's spot in Bed-Stuy, where it was like, this is the hood, like why are there people here? It was like an Alex English party, yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he used to throw girls and boys at Webster Hall. So like all of those like electro parties, they'd book like Justice and like Zaffelstein and Steve Aoki, like people like that.
Nice. Actually, I read the Nouveau York interview, and you both mentioned like that, like French touch, like when you like you started getting into it at a point, and like I'm so curious, what did you find exciting in like that sound at that time?
I think the energy of it, you know, and I think when I kind of compare it to now, like with like the younger generation getting into more like fast tempo, high energy stuff. I think when you're younger, you're just getting into something, like you kind of prefer that. So yeah, I think it was that mostly, and it was just something so different, so opposite from like, you know, listening to like Joel Santana or like any of the hip hop artists I was listening to at the time. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely like it's like a rager of a thing. Like people wouldn't really dance, it'd like jump up and down, but like that energy was like more exciting than dancing at that point.
Yeah,
like as kids, you know.
It's so true, because I remember like Daft Punk in the 2008, 9, 10.
The live show?
Yeah, they were so sick. And also like they were like their biggest inspiration was, you know, were like pioneers in Chicago.
Yeah, like
Paul Johnson,
Masters at Work.
So it's crazy to see like the effect of like Chicago in France.
You're right.
And then coming like, and then France bringing that effect to New York.
Yeah. But also, like, I feel like a big part of why we got put on, and there's so many, you know, variables, especially being in New York, but there's a track that Daft Punk had called Teachers, where they mentioned, like, all these guys. We'd, like, look up and be like, okay, who is, like, Jam and Gerald? And, like, who is Paul Johnson? And, like, Will Lewis, all these guys. And you'd, like, I don't know, I feel like we were closer, or we are closer to that now, but, like, we discovered a lot of that through these guys who are making like electro music, like electronic heavy music. Yeah,
that's so cool. That's like that's nice to see like how inspiration can come from different.
Yeah, sure.
Like you didn't expect it, and also I know both of you, your parents are in music, and Brandon, your mom, you used to go to
the Paradise Garage.
Yeah, Paradise Garage.
Clubs are popular at the time in the 80s. Yeah.
And like in an interview, you said that she put you on like a lot of Lee Louis, like a lot of you know, pioneers. So I'm curious, like at that time when you were getting into Daft Punk and finding like, you know, house music, were you friends, or like did you know each other?
Yeah. So we actually met because of that. We actually met on a sneaker forum in 2009. We were both big sneakerheads. And there was a forum for just people who want to buy, sell, or trade sneakers. And there was a subtopic for the first year of Electric Zoo, this festival that happens here in New York. And I remember they had an Ed Banger portion where it was like DJ Mehdi, Busy P, and a few others were playing. And so, we both were in high school. We didn't have friends that were into this kind of music really at the time. And so we messaged each other and we're like, hey, do you want to go to this festival together? We never met before, but from collecting sneakers, like it was common to meet up with strangers and like sell things, like do a meetup in Soho. So I felt like the idea of that wasn't so foreign. And we met up and we went to this festival and then just started going to shows together.
Whoa.
After that. Yeah. So around like 2007, 2006 is when I first got into electronic music. Yeah.
Nice. And were you like, what were you thinking when like you met each other in this forum?
It was like kind of perfect. I mean, I think before that, or maybe not even before that, I think like after that or when we're older, like, damn, this could have been like such a weird, like, older, weird dude. Yeah, it could have been kidnapped. But it just like turned out that we were like so like same age, like
Yeah.
from the same
Whoa.
place. Yeah, it was like very serendipitous in that way.
Yeah.
Nice. And so were you like you met and then you would hang out together? Like would you share? Like would you research music together or like listen to music together? Like how?
I feel like more so like go to shows
Go to
together and like probably like send each other like talk about music that we heard there that was like being played at the shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the at least for me, like the music discovery in that period was kind of secondary to like what I was seeing, like in terms of like watching these DJs like play, which was like something so different from what I knew a DJ to be. Like I feel like DJs were more like this club thing, or like it gets my understanding like you go and like you make a request, or they're like playing like stuff on the radio, and then you could like see these guys who are playing to these like huge crowds. And there's this guy like Glenn Gem on YouTube who'll like videotape all of it, and you can kind of see like what they're doing, and yeah, it was just like very like alluring, like super interesting. Yeah, I was so fascinated with like just watching people and like this like craft.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like do you remember one party that really like marked you together, like that it was like really memorable?
I think maybe we went to the Ed Banger. I can't remember what anniversary party it was. At 7 year
anniversary,
at
yeah.
705. Maybe the both time we both saw Justice play together. But I remember us just really connecting off of Ed Banger in general and being huge fans of that label. And yeah, it was the first time we went to this anniversary party and just being like so excited about every act, and you know, we like even things like watching the films that like, you know, some of the producers I've scored for, and you know, I feel like we were really like geeking out on
super, yeah,
anything
like that
related.
whole thing. I feel like that whole world was like very fascinating. But yeah, I remember seeing like I think A-Track played at like that party.
Yeah.
And did like his turntablism, and like our favorite was like DJ Mehdi, and he
Yeah.
like played too, and yeah.
Oh my god, I was just I came like I read an article by him, and it's so sad, like tragic, like how he
For real.
he died, and he was so, because I remember at that time too, like I forgot the name of this website, but they would like always like share premieres in
Hype Machine?
Yeah.
Yeah, all there. This is like back when you could like just download songs
for
off
free.
the internet for free.
Yeah, that was so
Crazy.
cool.
What a crazy time.
Yeah, and I remember like seeing like DJ Mehdi, and I was like, wow, what's going on like in Paris?
Yeah.
But then it's interesting, like what do you think of, because many of like these like producers like Geza Felstein and all, like they are now producing for like rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Brodinski is like
Yeah, Brudzinski.
strictly hip hop.
Yeah.
And they're also like producing for pop too, like the
Yeah.
Weeknd.
Oh, really?
Too. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I think Gazelstein produced for the Weeknd as well as Daft Punk.
This up with Frank Ocean.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
some stuff with Frank
Whoa.
Ocean. Justice is doing like stuff with Tame Impala. Like, they're leaning very much into that. I think the way that Justice and also like a lot of these guys are doing it is cool, because it's very much they're making it their own thing rather than just trying to be like a radio pop kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely like an exciting thing to see, like those we were kind of talking about it earlier with like the blurring the lines of like pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I'm super curious, when did you first like started to think about the idea of making music together, like starting a project together?
Probably after we were like DJing. I think the thing first was like for us was like DJing together. I started like DJing when I was 13, and then like the next year I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like make stuff to like play with, and like all the stuff I made to play with was like not great, you know, but it's still like figuring it out. And yeah, I think like with this whole like culture of like what we were seeing, like how exciting was to like watch these DJs play and like go to these shows. We were just like interested in like wanting to kind of like just like figure out how to do that, and not even so much how to like play in front of a big crowd, but just like how to like seamlessly connect like this music that we're like super inspired by.
Wow.
And yeah, super excited by. So yeah,
I feel like by the time we had our first gig, our taste maybe had evolved too.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
we weren't playing any of that like Ed Banger stuff at the time. I remember it was like Masters at Work or like Low Soul and like Mosca, like some UK stuff as well.
Wow.
So yeah, even by the time we started like DJing together, the sound had changed.
Yeah, I remember reading in an interview, you said that you went to a party, the Shelter, and like Jimmy Regisfer was like playing there, and then it kind of like gave you, like it inspired you so much, and you saw like the power like of like soulful house music, and I'm curious, I'm curious to know more about like your, like what did you feel like when you started going to like the Shelter, like seeing like, you know, DJs who created house music play, like how did you feel?
Yeah, I remember being so blown away by that. We were booked to play in a side room, and I remember the promoter saying that it was like a tribal house party. And so I remember like, just like buying a bunch of like tribal-esque kind of stuff, and then
he told you to play a certain genre.
Yeah, he was just like, it's mostly gonna be like tribal more or less, and so bought things that were in that genre that I liked and enjoyed, and then I remember going next door after we finished playing and then seeing like baby powder on the dance floor, people like sliding on the floor, just this style of dancing that I had never seen before, and I remember just being so interested, just like oh, what is this, you know? And especially coming from like the like more like electro blog house thing, like years prior, this was like so new and refreshing, and I remember it really drawing me in and wanting to learn more about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, I was saying before, like the dance culture around it, like there wasn't really any, was like the electro scene. So actually seeing people like dancing and reacting to the music in that way was like really special.
Nice. And were you like I remember, so I'm really curious, so at that time when you first like when you started DJing together and slowly started to make music together, what tools were you using?
My dad had I don't even remember what the Korg model was, but like a Korg synth, and then a Super JV like rack mount, and like a MIDI controller. And so like I feel like a lot of the first things were that. I'm trying to think what else. There was like an MPC, but would use it like here and there. It wasn't really like essential. But yeah, that kind of stuff. Tried to get Ableton, like opened it, was like so daunting and confusing. And stuck to like Digital Performer, which I feel like people use to like score films and stuff. It wasn't really like very like electronic or like dance music adjacent. And then I'm trying to could you think about like any, I can't even think about like when we started making music intentionally, like what we were doing besides Ableton.
I would say just Ableton, right? And what you had at the time, maybe in like 2018, 2019?
I think
like equipment wise, it wasn't really much, right?
I feel like now I'm remembering like through college, like in dorm room, like Ableton and a MIDI controller. I feel like that for a while was like just the setup.
And were you like thinking about making house, or like you were just experimenting, or?
Yeah, more so just like experimenting. Definitely like always had like this like house sensibility, but a lot, there's still like stuff that we have. There's like sometimes we'll be playing like a huge club and everybody will be like going crazy, and like Brandon's looks at me and I see the track he's queuing up and it's like a thing that I made when I was like 14 or 15 or something. Like as a joke.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just like all of that stuff was like very it's like discovering like music and sounds and like arrangements and stuff. And I'm sure like hearing it now and like recreating it now would be something that like would make sense in like our cultural context or like the club setting. But yeah, it was just like kind of like how we produce now. It's just like making something and like if you can play it in the club, cool, but like maybe it's not for that. You know?
What were your biggest inspirations at that time when you were starting to produce?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think when we started producing.
Like around our first release, you mean?
Around our first release?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people like Louis Vega, like a lot of these artists.
Masters at Work for sure.
Yeah, Masters at Work.
Ron Trent.
Yeah. Joe Clasell.
Timmy Regisford. DJ Spinna. Anthony Nicholson was a big one. Yeah, I'm sure we're missing people, but yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah, it's so inspiring because like I remember when you started Coloring Lessons, like your party and record label, it was so beautiful to see that like you were bringing, you know, like the older generation, like people who, I mean, and like big people, like people who created the genre with like younger generation. So yeah, I'm like so curious to know more about like why did you want it to like have like both, you know? Like yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's important. One, to give these people a platform, you know, that have been so foundational to this, but you know, because they're not active on Instagram and, you know, they're not really out there like that, they're less likely to get booked because they don't have that following, you know? And so, yeah, using our platform, whether that be the label or the radio show or the party to give to them. And then, yeah, there's just so many great younger DJs and producers coming out of New York, you know? And so, yeah, also thought it was important to like pair them together.
Yeah, I think that gap is super important to us because I think that we're being inspired by both generations. The older generations, like we've been looking up to them forever, and then there's like so many like new people to the scene that we're just like, wow, it's like a really special thing. And I feel like that that merge that happens when they play together, it's like, I don't know, it's like telling this story. Yeah, that's really exciting for us.
Yeah, it's so true because I feel like before you started Coloring Lessons, like there's this huge divide.
For sure.
And I feel like it was just so sad to see like there's no dialogue with like the older generation, and I feel like everyone should be interconnected.
1,000%.
I think it was just so niche and like yeah, like I said, these people weren't really like on Instagram and things like that. So I just feel like they just kind of kept to themselves and did their thing. And then I think the younger generation just didn't understand it. So we would have people come to our parties and be like, oh, I didn't know that this was house music. You know, they had like a different idea of what that kind of music was. Yeah, so I think that's a big reason is because, yeah, it was definitely a bit like insular.
And I love also on your website, you have a lot of interviews with like legends.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
if you're listening to this podcast or watching us, you should check out the website, Coloring Lessons. And yeah, I'm like, I know also that you had a mentor, Carlos Sanchez. So how did you meet him?
We met him through Samir Hall. He, in the 90s, and the label's still active, ran this label with Anthony Nicholson called Clairaudience. And he just kind of called us up randomly through somebody who had been booking us for like some of our first, you know, DJ bookings. and he was like, yeah, I really want you to play this party. It's gonna be like, it was like, that was like a benefit, right?
It was the one at Black Flamingo.
Wow.
At like Black Flamingo, and I think like when we played, like Francois K was there and Kim Lightfoot, KO was there. Who else played on the lineup?
KO, I can't really remember KO and
but yeah, that was the first time we met Carlos.
Wow.
And got to really I don't know, we were hearing so many different things, but like nothing that I think really put him on a pedestal, which I feel like he deserves like all these flowers that like, because you know they're all peers and they're all the same age, like none of them are like really hyping each other up in that way. But yeah, then we like kind of formed this relationship with him where we'd like hang out, go get dinner. He'd show us so much music.
Whoa.
Introduce us to so many people. Yeah.
We actually met Louis Vega through him, Kenny Beck
Really?
through him.
Wow.
So many other people. Just because he was so foundational as well. Like he helped set up the sound system at the Paradise Garage. He worked at Apple Records. He was the buyer there. This like really popular record shop here in the 90s in Brooklyn.
Wow.
And definitely a foundational person.
Yeah, 1000%.
It's so beautiful because like I feel like like those meetings, like I feel like it's very New York to be, you know, like everyone's minding their own business and then you meet like this inspirational angel. And it's like when you need years later to like look back and be like, oh my god.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, they're such a special like part of our lives too. Yeah.
And also I really appreciated that you know, I remember, rest in peace, when he passed, you set up like a GoFundMe trying to help his family.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I feel like also, I mean, as friends, like both of you, like you're so caring and you care about the community and you always, that's so beautiful. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like there's no ego, and in New York we see so much people with ego, and it's like, it's disgusting.
It's also like just being, I think not everybody who's here is from here, and I think like growing up here you have this like each one teach one mentality, whereas like I don't lose anything by like trying to like teach this person everything I know, regardless of like if I'm super close with them or not. And so I feel like that's just how we look at a lot of these like people in the community. You know, it's just like however we can help, you know, with the time and like energy and resources that we have, we like try to as best as we can. But yeah, I can't even say it's like a total selfless thing, because we love like being able to like help, you know, the community around us and like push up our city. And like every time we go anywhere out of town, or like anytime we get on like an interview or something, we're just like, check out like what New York City is doing. Like, look at this person and this person. So it's definitely like a beneficial thing for us too. Like it makes us super proud to have like this thriving New York City scene. Like it wasn't always like that. So
100%. And I also love I mean, I'll come back to this question later, like about how you always collaborate with so many artists and musicians, and it's so beautiful to see that in your work. But I want to like mention that in your new album, that just it was released today, right?
Yeah. Today.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You have an interlude dedicated to Carlos. So that's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was definitely special, because it's like you know, that was like a big part of like those couple years, is like grappling with this like loss, because you know he meant like a lot to Brandon and I, and so it's just like we are navigating life through music and like all the stuff that you hear, and like working things out through music. And so like just like trying to illustrate like that experience especially with like I mean, I don't know if letting go is the best word, but you know, like accepting like the passing of a dear friend. And so yeah, I feel like you hear that in like those 3 songs. It's like Carlos Sanchez interlude, and then like Hello and Haya are like the 3 kind of like tracks on the album that deal with loss in that way.
So do you feel like that was the inspiration, like behind the album? Sugar Honey Iced Tea?
No, not. I think just like a part of the album, and like it was not only him. Like I that year lost like my aunt and like lost my grandma's sister. I guess my other aunt. And so yeah, it's just like that mourning aspect to it. Was something that we were just like dealing with, but I think like with the album there's just like all these things that we're like dealing with in life, and like how they're tinged by like the experiences that we have as people who are from the city, or as Black people who are from the city too. They're like very universal experiences, but like they look different for people who look like us. So I feel like that's kind of more so what the album's about. Yeah.
And I read that like you recorded the songs in multiple different locations.
Yeah.
Like how was that?
For sure. It is like, I mean, I think that it's we definitely made it far more glamorous than it sounds. I feel like after reading it, I'm like, oh, okay, this sounds like we're like in the studio and like in the studio, but it's really like we're still like very regular ass, like, you know, we're all like passing around the same $20 bill in New York. Like we don't, none of us have like the money or capital to like really be doing things the way that we want to. So yeah, it's like anytime we can get in front of a studio or like in front of a microphone to like record something, like that's the time.
Nice.
And anytime like a friend can offer us like a space, or like anytime we have, you know, like even the energy is when we'll like try to make something work. So I think it's like more like that, but like, yeah, that's happened in like different countries and different places, like in a like little bus or something, like driving like a 3-hour drive, just like trying to like make something happen.
It definitely feels like it's interesting because it feels like this continuity, like it feels like a whole like story, but at the same time each song is different in a way that like it's energetic, you know what I mean? Like each song is sick, like, you know what I mean? Like each song, it's not like the same, you don't feel like the sameness. So it's like very eclectic, and maybe that's because of like maybe the inspiration also from different like situations and stuff.
I think also like just having like a through line, which I think like one of the big things is like the realness of it. Like it's very like honest and very real and like based on like our experiences. So I feel like they're all going to have like a very similar feel to it.
And you collaborated with a lot of musicians.
Oh yeah.
Like Kamal, Toribio, Natalie, Greffel, and Aden.
Yeah, fantastic.
And also like there is one bonus, but I don't want to say it yet.
Wait, there's one. Would you say bonus?
Yeah.
Who? Which one?
It's on the album or not on the album?
It's on the album, but it's a bonus, so I don't know if I can say it.
You can say it. Go crazy. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Because I thought it was like a surprise. With Robert Owens.
Oh, Robert Owens.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was like such an interesting experience, like working with somebody who's had that much experience. Yeah, and like such a long career and such a long history, and like having to like communicate with them to make a song when it's like in the back of our heads, we're like, what do we have to tell them when they've been doing this since before we were born, you know? But yeah, that was definitely a track that was like really special for us, and it's not on the like full length project or on like the DSPs. I think it's just like Bandcamp exclusive.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we had a great time like recording and like writing that song, and I think that's why like it's like in the bonus track thing, because it's definitely part of that like Sugar Honey Iced Tea world.
And I'm curious, what like each of you, what song is your favorite? I mean, favorite like that, like I'm sure all of them. It's like babies, like.
But like favorite?
Yeah.
I feel like it was Haya for a while, and now it's I don't remember the last time I saw stars. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for me, I think it's always been water, and also like I don't remember the last time I saw stars. Those were like the two for me that were very I don't know, special or personal or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I love the whole. It's so hard to like pick a favorite, you know. Yeah. And
I have also like some pics. So this is like the cover.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So shout out our friend who we've known for like over 10 years, our friend Anthony Jamari Thomas, who's a artist, filmmaker, photographer. And yeah, he actually did the first single that we released called Don't Go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He did the cover art for that. And just like the album, we just really want to enlist our friends and people we're close with to work on the project with us. And so we hit him up and decided to shoot this. This was shot in his living room.
I think like being able to capture the feeling of the album. He's also like our age, Black, from Bed-Stuy, so I feel like he just naturally, even if we don't have to like communicate it, just like understands like this feeling of like what it's about. So I feel like it really came across in the album cover.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, and the design also. I don't have the back cover, but it's Adrienne.
Yeah. Who does like all of our,
the
like, design stuff. Yeah, she's super talented.
Yeah.
And also like I think he kind of like defined the coloring lessons.
Yeah.
Creative direction.
Yeah.
And you remember one day I texted you about Virgil Abloh, rest in peace. Because like, he at a point he released I think it was a design. I don't remember for what, but it was exactly like the same.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, there are eyes.
Yeah, I feel like I don't even remember if we spoke to Adrian about this kind of thing. But yeah, Adrian, if you're watching, you know, I'm sure there's a ton of people.
But I'm sure Virgil Abloh was a fan, because like I feel like he was so like supportive of like a lot of musicians.
Yeah, for sure.
And he had eyes on so many musicians in New York, other friends I know. So that's them. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
I wish it was
definitely rest in peace.
Yeah. And I'm gonna play this video.
Song of the Summer.
Yeah.
So this is Lindsay who's narrating on the album.
I'm just trying to you just trying to fuck. I'm just trying to talking too much. We've been in this club.
And shot by Sanji.
Yeah.
Shot by Breadface. Featuring like a bunch of our friends. It just feels like a fun, like, oh, I want to be there.
Yeah, I want to be,
like pre-gaming with them. It's just like a bunch of just like a bunch of girls who are just like really excited to go out and then end up just like having more fun in the crib.
Nice.
I'm just like, damn, y'all supposed to me to send out.
Really? They were supposed to come.
No. It's just, I feel like that's like the
vibe,
yeah.
And I love the video. Like, it's really cool. Like the...
Yeah, Breadface is... They have like... I mean, yeah, definitely check out their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, this is the hit. The summer 2024.
Yeah. I mean, also for Kamal. So as I was mentioning earlier, like not hasn't been doing this for like forever, but I feel like I'd have no problem like putting him up against like some of the veterans, you know, like he's super talented, super driven, like I love his like writing style. Love writing for him, like for his vocals.
Yeah, I really love that. Like, yeah, both of you are very. I feel like you work with instinct. Like when you like people, like you don't have like this barrier in your mind. You can let anyone be part of your project as long as they match the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that part is important, just being able to align and like be like, okay, like this is a person who I would get along with and like be friends with, even if we're not like the closest right now, like we are coming together in this way. That you can't really like replicate with like networking, or you can't really, you know. So yeah, that's like something that we're thankful for, and thankful that it's like led to like really beautiful music. Yeah.
I wanted to show this pic of you.
Yeah.
That was like your first DJ gig.
First DJ gig at the National Underground.
2013?
Maybe 13, yeah.
Or 2012?
It's on 2nd Avenue in East Houston, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a small, I think it's called the Late Late now. It was a small venue that pretty much had like underground dance music at the time. And they would stay open illegally until like 10 a.m.
Wow.
So people were like smoking down there and stuff.
Yeah, like pouring in at like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And we were like not 21 yet.
Yeah, we definitely were not 21.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember what mixture this is, but I just remember it being this kind of like spaceship control looking thing.
Yeah.
So bizarre.
Wait, so were you DJing with the CD or no?
CDJs. Yeah, we were using
yeah.
USBs. Yeah. We weren't playing vinyl at this time just yet. But yeah, we were using CDJs. And then this mixer, which the last time I've used this mixer was in this photo. Like I've never seen it since. It was like a really old, almost like console.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, a really great space. Like a lot of interesting underground acts. A lot of live stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciated that it was so like DIY, like bare bones DIY.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the first place that we played, and like the first time that we were accepted by just like older generation, you know, like we were playing for like a friend's like birthday party, and like everybody there was like our age, but then the people who were like frequenting the spot were all like 20, 30 years our senior. And were really excited by like the stuff that we were playing. So yeah.
Nice. And like I want to mention also, so coloring lessons, like what's do you have things coming up with the label, or
the compilation is the next thing, which won't be this year, but that would be the next thing for the label.
Nice.
And then like the party leg, we have like a few really exciting parties coming up, and then the block party, which we do every year for Juneteenth Sunday.
At the lot. Radio.
At the lot radio.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to Francois.
Yeah.
Like we work with him to get like these permits and like make everything happen. It's like such a challenge. It looks like super fun, but like such a challenging thing to like make that happen on such a big scale. But yeah, I mean, like every year we're like super happy to be up and early, like just outside all day.
Yeah.
My like dad is like on the grill.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so
my sister's like making pastries. It's like really like a family thing.
Nice. So what does your dad say about like your music now? Because he's also a producer.
Yeah, he said. I think it's cool to see how it's changed over time, because it went from being like, oh cool, to like, oh this is really interesting, or like which to me is like, okay, he's like listening to it like with a critical ear, which is exciting. We always get kind of nervous that like you know, there's so many people who will be like, oh yeah, this sounded great. And so it's hard to tell when like something needs, you know, like work, or when like something is actually good. So yeah, I'm really thankful like that he's given me like a very critical ear in that sense, even though he doesn't like totally understand like dance music. Yeah.
Do you, like, both of your parents know each other? Like, hang out?
They've met. They don't hang out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've definitely met over the years. Yeah. I remember one party at Levain, both of our moms were with us in the booth.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
I have that picture.
I think it was the anniversary of when we met, maybe, or something?
Yeah, maybe it's like a 10-year like Brandon and Craig. Yes.
That's so fascinating because, like, you met in a forum and it's like so random.
Yeah, we're definitely like
Yeah.
children of the internet.
Yeah.
But it's also funny because like people meet like that all the time now. But in that time, like 2009, right?
2009.
Yeah, 2009, like that was not really a thing like that. Like people meeting up, or if it was like kind of dangerous, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny that like ended up happening.
And I know you're really busy with like touring, and so what's next for musclecars?
Touring wise?
Yeah.
The next thing we have, we're going to Philly this week. And then we'll be in the States until mid-June, and then we go to Europe. And then we'll be in and out of Europe throughout the summer. Asia in September, Australia in September.
Like movement in the next couple weeks.
Wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm super geeked to just like be back in Detroit with like such a beautiful like energy. All the people are like so sweet, and yeah,
Nice. And I feel like those movement, like just being there and meeting like legends.
Yeah.
Like low-key, like
Everyone goes out there.
Yeah.
But it's also like the like meeting those legends is really nice to see. And I think that because we know a lot of the people in New York, but I feel like for everybody in Europe and everybody in the States to kind of like see Theo Parrish or like Mike Banks just like interacting in like a way that is like very like humble and like without much ego, and like offering like knowledge and tools to people, I think is like a really like a thing that people need to be seeing, because I think then it would just like continue pushing that energy forward. And yeah, that's one thing I love about like Detroit, like all their OGs are really down to teach like the new generation like what they know.
Yeah. And I wish like us, the new generation, do like we also do it, and then that it's kept alive. Because I don't know, I mean, what's your relationship with like Instagram and social media? Because it's so unfair for other older people who are really, really amazing DJs and musicians, but they don't have following.
Yeah.
Like, do you see yourself like using social media like down?
It's I hate using it, like not having fun posting, but like it's a necessary thing to be able to just like get your name out there. And I also think that I don't really want to be the person, whether now or like 5 years or 10 years from now, to like reject technology. But yeah, it's like, you know, it doesn't make it like the tightest thing, like Instagram, and especially like just like the meta thing in general is like pretty whack. But at the same time, it's just like very essential and arguably like necessary tool for like a lot of artists and DJs to get their work out there. But yeah, I always tell everybody like get an email list, like get like a website, because like this shit could all be taken down tomorrow or like go down, and then it's like, how are people gonna hear your music?
It's so true. Like, it's crazy that they don't give us the option to download the followers.
Right.
Yeah.
You know why?
I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out themselves, but yeah, they're not gonna tell us how to do it.
But yeah, last question. What's your dream?
My dream?
Yeah.
Brandon, what's your dream? Like, ask me my dream.
I would love to just continue a career in music with Craig. I would love for coloring lessons to grow. Any other than that, I try to stay very open. Yeah, but for my like immediate like 5-6 year down the line thing, I would say those two things.
Yeah, I think like like thinking about it now and trying to find a thing, I think, and this sounds so cheesy, but like we're kind of like, feel like I'm there already, like living that, and it just like takes different shapes as we grow and evolve and, you know, move forward, whether like linearly or not. But yeah, this is just like what we've wanted to do. Just like play music for people and like make music that people can listen to. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of it, you know, with like seeing friends and like being part of like community, being in our city. Yeah, we're super blessed.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Brendan and Craig.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being my guest, and I'll make sure to include all of the links, and please go check out like the new album, Sugar Honey Iced Tea, and also the party that you're playing soon.
In New York.
In New York, yeah.
At Sugar Hill Disco.
Yeah.
With Danny Teneglia, Narissa Garcia.
Yeah.
It's gonna be legendary.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah.
And also Juneteenth at the Lot.
Yes.
June 16th at the Lot Radio. Calling Lessons Juneteenth block party. Yeah. Yes.
Nice. Thank you. Bye.
Thank y'all.